What's up, everybody? I'm Damon Swisher, the art director at Visionary Games, and this is our June State of the Game presentation on Project Phoenix Rising. I'm joined today with Managing Director Brandon and a Mechanics Lead, Sean. Would you guys introduce yourselves?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Alrighty, so we're going to jump right in. We've got a lot of stuff to show you guys today. So we're going to go cover some of the art progress. We have a lot of stuff going on and talk about some of the things that artists do in the meantime. Like right now, you've seen a lot of progress in the previous State of the Games, and now we're doing some of the more technical aspects. Going to talk about that. Going to get Sean in here for some of the game mechanics discussions. A lot of juicy info there. And Brandon is going to tell you guys some of the master development stuff as we show images of the masters that we are currently working on. So for art processes, like I mentioned, we're doing a lot of technical stuff right now. We have a lot of progress on the current characters, getting them into a state where they can interact with each other inside of the game. It's going to be great. We have a lot of rigging stuff going on, standards creating for animation in the coding and blueprint system that'll let the characters look awesome inside the engine, and some UI work so that the interface for the users should be pretty great. They'll be able to tell easily what's going on, where you need to click, all of that sort of thing. Our artists are working really hard on the graphics behind that, but I'm really excited with how it's turning out. And now we're going to have Brandon come in here and tell you all a little bit about the master development side of things. Brandon?
All right, so we've just got a little bit of information that we're going to be going over today. We're going to go over the first 5 masters. We're not going in depth in their kits or their abilities. We're just going to speak about how we're actually creating the kits themselves and which roles and things like that are going to be applying to the starter masters. We're also going to go a little bit over the role system, skill level, and caps. Basically, the role system that we've created here, we went and did a bunch of research on all of the other big name MOBAs out there, and basically took their ideas as far as kinds of roles and how those roles interact in the game and things like that, and we're making them our own. They're not going to be exactly the same as in every other MOBA. Some of these roles are going to be different than normal roles with this name. We had to separate the actual definitions into different ones so that it'll give us more options and more flexibility whenever we're creating the kits. During the initial kit creation process here, we've decided that we're going to be using roles rather than lanes to help define how the kit is going to work. So instead of saying this guy is going to be ADC or support, or jungler, mid lane, or solo, we're going to be using roles instead to describe the kit itself and let the players determine how they want to play with that character, with that kit. We're basically giving the player all the freedom of choice whenever it comes to actually choosing the kits, how they want to play them, things like that. So we're leaving all of that up to you guys. We're just creating the kits themselves using these roles in mind. Skill level and caps, all of the first 5 masters that we're going to be talking about here are going to be beginner level masters. That does not mean that their skill cap is beginner. Basically, what it means is all of their kits are going to be easy to understand, easy to use. Somebody who has no prior experience in MOBAs is going to be able to open the game, pick a beginner level master, look at the kit details, and understand the basics of how that kit works. Now, that does not mean that since it's a beginner kit, that's the skill cap. The skill cap, we can't really say. That's something that's to be determined by the players themselves. How you use the skills and abilities in each kit determines, how well that kit will actually be playable in the game. How it'll be telling you how you can set up different play styles and things like that using beginner level kits against not beginner level masters. Now, that's just something that's you're going to find out whenever you play the masters themselves in game.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Brandon. Let's go into some of the characters now. Right here on the screen we have Cronan, some nice concept art iterations of him up there. A little bit different from what you've seen of him already. These are just some of the more early on explorations, as well as one of the more recent explorations here on the left side of the screen. And we have some roles, skill level, and attributes for Cronan, as Brandon was mentioning earlier, which Brandon might want to touch on.
All right, so these are some of the different roles that I was talking about that may seem familiar from other games, such as Bruiser, Durable, and Ganker. Bruiser, in our context, usually means somebody who does medium to heavy damage up close. So they're going to be the melee guys that are be able to dish out a decent amount of damage and be able to just receive it back. That's where the durable part comes in. Durable is more describing how long they'll be able to last in a fight. So people with the durable role usually have a little bit more base health than somebody without the durable. Ganker is in reference to how his kit would be played best. His kit is going to be more directed towards actual PvP fights rather than just farming or lane farming or things like that. So his kit is going to be better used against other players rather than just camps. That doesn't mean he can't fight camps. Every character is going to be able to fight a camp. It's just his kit is going to be better for actual combat. Skill level beginner, like I said, all these first 5 are going to be beginners with various skill caps. Attributes, heavy hitter when up close, strong PvP potential. Basically, heavy hitter up close just means he's going to be able to dish out some damage to close targets. That means he's going to have to get close to people in order to hurt them. He's not going to be a great distance fighter. He needs to be up close. That's what, we have melee guys for. Strong PvP potential. I talked a little bit about that in the Ganker. Just means that he's going to be more directed towards actual PvP combat rather than just laning or camps.
Awesome. Now we're going to step on to Theo. We have some concept art of Theo here using Almighty's pre-made model, or not pre-made model, but prior to being armored model. We did some armor on top of that so that Almighty could go ahead and work on some of the armor. You guys might have seen Theo modeled on some of Almighty's streams. He operates on one of the Twitch channels that we have for Visionary Games. It's really great. You should check it out sometime if you haven't. It's nice to see the progress as it's happening. Theo is currently being worked on right now, moving forward with her stages. And now we have some roles, skill level, and attributes that Brandon will like to touch on again.
So the roles for Theo are going to be Guardian and Durable. We've already went over Durable. Just means that they're going to have a little bit more health than people without that tagline for base health. Guardian Guardian means that it's going to be somebody who's able to provide some buffs for their allies, whether that's a health buff, shield buff, speed, attack speed, things like that. Guardian, it's just basically the role defining somebody who helps their allies through positive buffs. So Theo's going to be one of those people that you'll see running around providing people with help rather than directly attacking. So that's something that you'll be able to check out more once we actually release. Skill level, beginner. Attributes, helps allies through various boosts. Basically what I was talking about just a second ago, she's going to be the person that's going to be helping out her team the most through actual buffs and boosts. It all depends, on the type of situation that they're in.
Awesome. Now we're going to talk about Aurelia a little bit, who you've seen plenty of. This is one of her high quality shots here. It's pretty awesome. Shows a little bit of a static turnaround. Brandon, would you like to talk a little bit about Aurelia and where she fits into the game?
So Aurelia's roles are sustain and anti-mage. Basically, sustain for us means somebody who is able to survive on their own in lane. Somebody who's able to get either health back or mana back or both just something that's in their kit that's going to enable them to survive or stick around in their lane longer than not. Anti-mage just means that she's going to be a big problem for other mana-heavy ability users. Not going to get too specific about it because we don't want to reveal too much about her kit, but she's going to be a real pain for any other casters that she's going against. Skill level beginner, attributes, good team fight survivability, can get in and out of places. Basically, that ties in with the sustain and anti-mage roles. Good team fight survivability means she has the ability to get in a team fight and survive. It's part of her kit that we put in there. Just want her to be able to survive longer, since she's usually going to be played on her own. Can get in and out of places. She has some abilities that allows her to travel, whether it's to a fight or away from a fight. It's just she has some abilities that are going to be exceptional for that.
Awesome. So glad to hear about it. Now we're going to look at our boy Worden. This is some early concept art of Worden. We have some of his turnarounds here from the early drawings, as well as his weapons and some of his details for his hands. Brendan, would you like to tell them a little bit about his roles, skill level, and attributes?
Yes, sir. Roles? He has tank, controller, and initiator. Basically, tank, self-explanatory. He's going to have a lot of health, a lot of base health starting off. It's going to be more than normal. Controller basically means that his abilities that he's going to use are going to help him control the battlefield around him, so whether that's through AoE abilities or self-buffs or things like that. The initiator role basically means that he's going to be able to start or initiate a fight with somebody pretty easily, whether that's through an engage, whether that's through an ability that he uses, anything like that. He's going to be able to start a fight pretty easily. Skill level beginner, attributes, very healthy lifespan in the right hands, offensive and defensive split. So the attribute, very healthy lifespan, like I was saying earlier, he's going to have a lot of health. Now, if you play his character right and you know how to work his kit properly, it's going to be pretty easy for him to stay in lane longer than normal without having to go back to base too often, because he has a good set of defensive abilities that help him retain his health. Offensive and defensive split basically just means that his abilities, we've created them to where they're not just full offensive, they're not just full defensive. It's a nice middle ground where he's able to get into a fight and he's able to dish out some damage, but he's also able to take some damage too. He's going to be able to stand his own ground.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Brandon. Here are some images of Worden that we've got here from our awesome artist, Rob. He's been doing the low poly on Worden, and here is a representation of it for you. This is the stage prior to the UV mapping and texturing for the characters, so we should be getting some awesome looks at this character soon. Take a look at that boot. I mean, that is just so awesome, all the detail put into it. We really wanted to convey that Worden was a robot, and a tanky robot at that. Should be cool to see how this turns out. Next, we're going to go through our boy Inferno. Here's some early concepts of Inferno, as well as his hands, some details there, and a material pass showing where Inferno's main materials are going to go. If you look at that top right corner, you can see where the inspiration from Inferno came from in the current design, and we're still doing some iterations on his head and face. And Brandon will tell you a little bit more about the mechanical details of Inferno.
Okay, so his roles are burst and marksman. Burst meaning that he's going to be able to lay down a bunch of damage really fast. He's going to come in, burst all of his abilities, and get out. He's there to just provide fire whenever possible. Marksman being an identifier showing that he's going to be a ranged DPS. So most of his abilities are going to be more range oriented. Skill level beginner, attributes damage dealer, fire, and quick boy. Damage dealer mean going along with burst, meaning he's going to be able to get in, do a bunch of damage. Fire attribute, basically talking about how some of his abilities are going to be fire-based abilities. Now, like everything else here, it's all a work in progress, and until we actually get into the game and test it out for ourselves and start balancing it, everything is up to change. But as of right now, his kit does contain some fiery elements. Quick Boy, just basically talking about how he's able to get places. He can move quickly, get into a fight, get out of a fight, whatever needs to happen, he's going to be able to do it quickly. Inferno is all about speed here.
Great, thank you so much for that, Brandon. Now we have the game mechanics, which my boy Sean is going to tell you a little bit about. Should be some juicy details there.
Hey everyone. Okay, so you can see what we're going to talk about here. I won't be giving any values in this. It's just going to be showing what we're trying to achieve. Everything that's on the screen just now is ready to be put in engine. So we have a couple of other things as well, but we didn't want to go into them just yet. So for the minions, we have standard. You can see our minions there. We have a standard melee and range setup with siege minion joining them on set waves. The waves increase throughout the match to help push and end the game a bit quicker and stop games lasting too long, and to increase the economy slightly throughout the match. The towers we're on to next. We've other ones, and we didn't want our towers to be too paper mache and just fall over. So we've looked at the defensive stats of them. I think we've got them in a good place, and our mechanics, we think they're going to fire projectiles, for instance. So if you get the aggro and you teleport to the other side of the map, the projectile will follow you and you'll still get hit. So there's no way to abuse their firing mechanics or anything like that. And we have another mechanic. We're trying to stop massive waves of creeps snowballing down entire lanes all by themselves. It's not going to eliminate the possibility of it, but we don't want that to go too far without a friendly master being there to help them. So towers, minions, fairly standard overall. Remnants they're our jungle creeps, essentially. We have 5 different types at the moment. They've all got different levels of offensive, defensive stats, and we've done it in this way so that we can set the jungle up so it's less formulaic. We want it to be a smoother, more open system. So our camps aren't going to have the same spawns. You might have one camp that has maybe 3 of the level 1s, another camp that has 2 of the level 4s. So somebody might be good at clearing camp A, someone might be better at clearing camp B at first. That way we should open up our master viability for jungle. And by doing so, we should open up the master viability throughout the whole game. That's something we've been focusing on quite strongly, is keeping our master, the options for the number of masters you can pick as high as possible. I'll go into our jungle bosses. Okay, we have 3 jungle bosses at the moment. They have different spawns and they all have different mechanics and abilities attached to them. They're going to be, a team's going to be focusing them at different times throughout the match. You're not going to always want all of them at the time. Simply not going to be able to take the highest level one, for instance, very early in the match. It has an ability that will stop solo attempts by disabling a target, and an ally can help you by stunning the boss to interrupt the ability. We have other abilities that force or hinder, just generally cause the team to need to play around the objective that they're going for, rather than standing there holding down basic attack, just mindlessly managing to kill it and getting the reward. So we're quite excited with how our jungle bosses are turning out. The next thing would be our master kill system, which is done. The XP gained from killing a master is finished. So it's going to be getting put into game very soon. It might already be an engine. And we've been designing it with the principle of discouraging snowballing and to help encourage comeback. So a team can't get too far ahead and have an insurmountable lead. We don't feel that fits into the spirit of a MOBA and competitive viability in a game, which is very important for us. We really want our game to be entertaining to watch as well as play. So little things like this we feel are quite important. So we've paid quite a lot of attention to the little things. So the Master XP is in engine as far as I'm aware. Our item shop is the last thing on agenda. Sadly, we don't have any pictures for you just yet, but I will be going into detail over something. It's been built around how viable it is for competitive play. That's the most important thing for us. So we all be happy to hear in your very first game, you log in your very first match, you will have access to every item in the item shop system, assuming you have the economy at the time. They will be costing more as the match goes on to be able to afford the more expensive ones. The tweaks with our system, I know we haven't really released too much information, but you're going to be able to fine choose and customize the stats on any item yourself with certain parameters. So you can't just go too crazy and put anything anywhere. But you are going to be able to choose the stats on an item. We're hoping this will put the focus onto the passive and active components of the item, and not merely just saying, I want the item with the highest damage, I want the item with the highest health. We feel that's not very good for a competitive game when simply all you're aiming for is the highest stats. So we think this system should open up the item shop, make it more exciting, which inevitably should make the game more exciting. That's everything that Mechanics has for you today.
Thank you so much, Sean. That's awesome. So glad we could share that info. Hope you all are excited to hear about all that. It was awesome to show you guys the minions. If you haven't seen them being worked on by Almighty with the randomly spawning appendages and other pieces actually as well. This will be active when a minion spawns. He'll have a different body part each time, so you won't just be seeing the same minions over and over, but there'll be distinct characteristics that show whose side a minion is on. For instance, this red color, and maybe even this lighter rock or type of rock. So it'll be quite clear who's on whose side, but the differences in the minions generated should add some really interesting gameplay, or at least just immersion. Then we got to show you the jungle boss that Almighty has also been working on. Looks pretty astounding. This is not the final color, but this is what it could look like in the engine, or at least in the game. Looks pretty stellar. Really digging how it's turning out. You all have probably been digging it too, seeing it on the stream. Again, if you don't know where to find that, we'll have all that information in the description. You all should really check it out. It's great to see these things being created. Then, of course, we have Theo, which is also being created. This turntable has a bit of a glitch, but you can get the general gist of how Theo looks here. You've got the tabards and the armor, everything that's still being worked on a little bit. Almighty is currently working on this on his stream, so it should be worth it to check it out. That is all we have for you today. If you guys would like to tell them a bit about the stuff we're releasing outside of the state of the game today, Brandon, a little bit of a surpriser there.
Yes, sir. So we have finally gotten our website out there. We're releasing it today alongside this video, so you'll be able to go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, check out all of our different links to our social media and things like that. The newsletter is just going to contain various info, like previous things that we've been working on, things that we're going to be doing in the future, stuff like that. Just a normal newsletter that contains info about us and what we're doing. On that website, you'll also be able to see all of our different social media links, so you'll be able to quickly get over to our Discord page, our Reddit, our Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. It's all going to be in one place. So all you got to do is head to our website, open it up, and you'll be able to see everything that you need there.
Great, awesome. Thank you so much, man. Well, this is Damon Swisher, the art director, Brandon, the managing director, and Sean, the mechanics lead, coming at you all today for the state of the game. Thank you for joining so much. You guys want to say goodbye?
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for taking your time, and thanks for the support.
Yeah, just like they said, thank you all for being around, sticking around, and supporting us as much as you have. We're nothing without our community, so it's great to have such a strong community here with us. hope you guys stick around and invite more.
Thank you so much. Same to you all. Well, we'll see you guys next time.